Yo, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to D+Pad Life, and today I want to talk about the Little Nightmares series. Little Nightmare 3 just dropped, and, Little Nightmares 3. And yeah, the reception has been mixed. I gotta say, I'm hearing good things, I'm hearing bad things. A lot of what I'm hearing is it doesn't stand up to these two games. Now, I do know the team that made Little Nightmares 3 is a different team than what made Little Nightmares 1 and 2. And I've got mixed feelings on these games. I've played through both of them. I beat them both. I was anticipating 3 until I heard it was like primarily a co-op experience. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. When it comes to gaming, I'm more of a single player solo type of guy. I'll do co-op here and there, but that's not what I'm really looking for. I could see it working out well for Little Nightmares, but what I'm hearing, it doesn't really. And sorry for this nasty sticker stain on here. I didn't realize that was there. But I can take care of that later on. I like to keep my games looking nice and clean, so that's discouraging. Anyways, not to draw attention to it more than I already have. Let's go ahead and talk about the Little Nightmares series, and I'm just going to kind of go through my general time with them, my general thoughts, my general impressions. It's not too much of a deep dive. I'm not going to like break down things bit by bit. I'm just going to kind of cover, it's just like a discussion. This is a discussion video. Let's discuss Little Nightmares. So Little Nightmares 1, I think I'd prefer it over 2 if I had to like pick one. I think overall, I thought 2 was really cool. I appreciated them broadening our perspective on the world that these games take place in. You definitely go to some more, I wouldn't say interesting locales, but they show more of the world. This game takes place on a cruise ship, while this game takes place off the cruise ship in the world, and you're navigating around, and you definitely come across some interesting stuff. But on Little Nightmares 1, I just really appreciated the vibe. Boats in horror games are interesting to me. I've got a mixed relationship with them. I think conceptually, I really love them. Resident Evil Dead Aim and Resident Evil Revelations and Cold Fear, those 3 come to mind. And as a concept, it's absolutely a horrific situation to be stuck at sea with monsters, right? I think that feeds into the horror aesthetic well, but I do think there are limitations on what you can do with that. So far, I would say, in my experience, I've never completed Cold Fear, but I would say Revelations 1 does the most with a boat, because, I mean, even Resident Evil Dead Aim, you eventually get off the boat. But in Little Nightmares, the world you explore is incredibly fascinating. I love the idea that you are this small being and these giant, grotesque, just greedy, hungry creatures are constantly trying to get their hands on you. It feels very oppressive. You feel very vulnerable in this world and playing this game. And I think it does a great job at capturing that. What this game reminds me of the most is my time back playing the very first Little Big Planet. I was extremely excited when Little Big Planet, the first game, had been announced and released. I was playing the living heck out of it. It is the only game in my life that I've really dug into the online for and spent a considerable amount of time with. Little Big Planet was a pretty good time. But one of the things that I enjoyed the most about the online mode was finding levels that people had created that were like, had horror themes to them. They were trying to make spooky levels. Most of the time, with that limited engine, they didn't really accomplish much. It would be kind of curious to see like what they did by Little Big Planet 3 to see what creators could make, but I didn't stick with the series. But this game feels like that. Mechanically, it's just as simple as Little Big Planet 1. And I don't know, as much as I like enjoyed the world, enjoyed the concept, I found the gameplay to be pretty, just not that enjoyable, not that satisfying, ultimately. Kind of repetitive. I mean, there's certain situations you're going to find yourself in where it really is just try and try and try again until you figure it out. And that's just by design. You have to kind of like embrace that idea that it's like a trial and error sort of game. I found that over time, I ultimately landed where like, I like the world they've created here. I like the aesthetic. I like the energy, but the gameplay does nothing for me. Nothing might be a strong word, but it certainly doesn't do a whole lot. And so you can tell by these screenshots, I mean, you do really cool stuff like climbing pieces of furniture these are the things you have to scale. You know, look how tiny you are, hiding from this giant man. Like, the enemy designs are amazing. That's certainly something I can give this game. The enemy designs are absolutely incredible. Um, and the game is quite spooky. It really is. I do appreciate that about it. Ultimately, and then you come to the ending, and I don't feel like they really give you a declarative statement on like what is going on within this world, which is okay. I don't necessarily need answers, I suppose, but I think with answers, I would have had a bit more of a, what am I trying to say? A full picture of what this game was really doing and what was it about. And I think for me, it would have contributed to the game. Without it, it just kind of leaves me feeling a little lost and a little confused. Like, why did I just play that? That gameplay wasn't really that fun. It was kind of irritating, honestly. And I don't even know what's going on in this world. So that part kind of sucked, but ultimately I found the game to be pretty fascinating, which leads me into Little Nightmares 2. And from what I've seen around online, people seem to really appreciate this one. I would say they seem to like it even more. It might be just a matter of opinion on that, but I get the interpretation that Little Nightmares 2 is the one that really stuck out for people. It likely drew in a lot of new fans too, so that probably is why it gets, for a lot of people, I'd imagine this is their first Little Nightmares. For me, I definitely liked it. I thought the gameplay was a step up, although it is mostly the same. I just feel like they got a little better at making more use of it and giving you a bit more of intriguing situations to find yourself in, to navigate through. Overall, it does have the same issues as the first one does for me, though, which is just that I just don't find the gameplay to be all that satisfying overall. Just, I don't know, it's not exactly side-scrolling. There is depth, but the game is played from a side perspective with no control over the camera. There's some verticality at points. I definitely love the enemy design in this one as well. The giant creatures that chase you like these long arms are really interesting. The teacher was definitely interesting. And the overall plot, which again doesn't really give you any sort of definitive answer. It's kind of interesting looking at the cover here and knowing what I know about the game now. I'm like spotting stuff that I hadn't picked up on before. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like ultimately it has the same strengths as the first game, but it also has the same weaknesses. Some of those weaknesses aren't as potent or glaring as they were in the first, but they're still potent and glaring. They're just not as potent and glaring. And so I guess from the third game, my hope is that it can kind of clean some of that up, make the gameplay just a little bit more fun, make it a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah, I don't know. Give me some more clear answers. But now knowing that it's not made by the original team and it's so co-op focused, I don't know how much interest I actually have in the third game. It seems like it's a pretty big flop. I try not to disregard or judge games based off what like critics or people are saying, to be honest. I do try to keep an open mind and go into them ready to have my own impressions made, but I don't mind getting an idea of what I'm stepping into. One thing that comes to mind for me is Final Fantasy 13. A lot of people have gripes at Final Fantasy 13. They don't like that it's so linear. That's like the biggest complaint for it. Now, I went into that game already knowing it was very linear, and I thoroughly enjoyed the game because I was able to taper my expectations. So that's kind of the idea with Little Nightmares 3. I can now taper my expectations. I know it's a co-op heavy dependent experience. I might be able to play that with my wife. Maybe, maybe not. She doesn't do too good with these spooky games. She'd probably be the person I'd be the most interested in playing it with. I could maybe play with my brother, but again, I'd have to get online, which means I'd have to pay for online, and it would just be to play like one game maybe, and I don't know. That doesn't really intrigue me. But I am kind of curious on what they did next and where the story went. What I'm hearing from other Little Nightmares fans is the answer is not much. It kind of just does what these two do. They give you an interesting story, an interesting premise, and ultimately it just doesn't actively go anywhere. And that's too bad because these things conceptually, I really want to love them and I feel like I should, but the execution for me just, I don't know, it just fell a little short. But that's okay. I mean, not every game is going to knock it out of the park. Not every game is going to be a hit. And at the end of the day, it just may not be my cup of tea. These games have a very large fandom. People love the Little Nightmares series. So just because it's not exactly my cup of tea doesn't mean, you know, it's not a great game. For some people, I'm sure it is. So far, I have kept these in the collection. I don't know if long term they actually will stay. I honestly don't know. I think down the road at some point I might revisit them. And if my experience and interpretation is roughly the same, then come that time I'll probably let them go. Because at this point I'm kind of holding on to them for the sake of giving them another try down the road, but primarily because it's like, I should like these. I should really enjoy these. These should be really cool and really great to me. But they just aren't. And it's disappointing, and it's just a little too bad, you know? I try not to put too much blame on the games themselves. I just look at it more like, well, Andrew, you know, that one just didn't kind of hit the spot for you. But in any case, I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Which one do you think is better, Little Nightmares 1 or 2? Which one did you prefer? Which one did you play first? Have you played Little Nightmares 3? Please tell me down below. I'd definitely be curious to hear what your guys' thoughts is on the series, on each entry, or on the new one, or all of the above. Let's talk about it. If you enjoyed hanging out with me today, please consider subscribing. It goes a long way to helping the channel grow, and I just really enjoy getting to interact with more of you guys. So if you enjoyed this video as well, could you please give a like? That goes a long way, as well as adding the, upping the exposure and introducing my videos to more people that might have some fun with us here. And yeah, that's it. Just if you could subscribe, like, and, you know, comment. Let's talk about Little Nightmares, man. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching D+Pad Life, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.